What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they are full of football and the fridge is filled with beer, or if you are a recipient of one of the most prestigious awards in all of sports. That's right.
Yes.
The Peacockies. Here are our winners. Josh Allen had the fantasy game of the year. Chubby Magic, Chuba Hubbard was the best value pick. Bucky Irving was the best waiver wire pickup. Brock Bowers was Rookie of the Year. Jameer Gibbs, Fantasy Playoffs MVP. Tyreek Hill, the biggest bust.
Congrats, Tyreek.
Yeah, you really earned that one. Jaden Daniels, Breakout Player of the Year. And, of course, the Fantasy MVP for the whole season, Jamar Chase.
Number one in your hearts, number one on the field.
And here are the past winners. Jamar Chase, obviously, took home the 2024 prestigious Peacocky. Christian McCaffrey, 2023. And friend of the show, Austin Eckler, was the 2022 Fantasy MVP, which leads us to our predictions for next year, Matthew. Where are you putting your stake on?
How about Puka Nacua?
Sure.
Look, you think about the final 8 games of the year, weeks 10 through 17, averaged over 22 fantasy points per game. He had a 39% target share. A 39% target share over that stretch. And Cooper Kupp is either hurt or completely washed or maybe both. But, it's all Puka. Every single time Stafford has looked, we expect Stafford to be back, and I just think the only knock on Puka is can he stay healthy? And so that's a concern, but seeing just how efficient this offense is and just how often he gets looked for, I think because of the injury concerns, he'll go a little bit further down in drafts than maybe he should. He'll still be a second rounder at the worst, likely a late first rounder, but give me Puka Nacua for next year's fantasy MVP.
Okay. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes, who I think is going to be a bit written off going into drafts next year, given that he's coming off 2 somewhat subpar seasons. But 2022, Mahomes was the real-life MVP. He had one of the great fantasy seasons of all time as well. I think his offensive line will get fixed. They'll get Rashee Rice back as well. So I think Mahomes still has a top 2 fantasy season in him at the quarterback position.
I'm going to take Malik Neighbors in year 2. Malik Neighbors was amazing this year as a rookie with Daniel Jones, Tim Boyle at times, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock. If the Giants can figure out, and they have to, that's why Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are kept, to get a quarterback that is not a star, just viable at playing point guard, Malik Neighbors, I think, can be a superstar in fantasy next year.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, he's with the Jets.
I know.
Yeah.
But he's
going to cost you
a return. He can come back.
Going to cost you.
Might be Shadur Sanders.
Yeah, we'll see.
They already have played catch in the streets of New York City.
Oh, there you go.
Breakout Player of the Year, the past winners. Jaden Daniels took it home this year. Well earned from Jaden Daniels. Kyron Williams, 2023's winner. And Tony Pollard in 2022. What was your prediction for next year, Matthew?
My prediction for next year, Nico Collins. Nico. I feel like he would have happened this year had he not gotten hurt. But the concerns going into this season, well, they've got Tank Dell, they've got Stephon Diggs. And even when all 3 were out there, he was still an alpha. I think C.J. Stroud will be better next year than he was this year. Nico Collins is a special player. He's as good as any of the elite wide receivers in the NFL. He just doesn't have the name recognition because he plays in Houston, because he was hurt so much this year. But in his healthy full games over the past 2 years, he's averaging almost 19 fantasy points per game. He got 50% of the team's end zone targets in his healthy games this year. So give me Nico Collins to break out and become an elite number 1 wide receiver all throughout next season.
Okay, I'll take the home run swing and go Anthony Richardson. I saw enough from Richardson after the benching to think that he had made real strides. Now, the health concerns are always going to be an issue, but just in terms of variance, there's not that many guys who you could see foreseeably becoming like the number 1 player in fantasy. And Anthony Richardson, that's a low likelihood, but it's within the range of outcomes just because of his upside. I'm
going to take someone that hasn't played a snap in the NFL, and that's Ashton Genty. He will be a first-round pick at the running back position. He was unbelievable for Boise State the last 2 years, and the team is using a first-round pick on him. Hopefully, I know the Falcons kind of fooled us with Arthur Smith. It's to be the workhorse, bell cow, 1A running back. Ashton Genty, I really hope he goes to the Vikings, actually, because Aaron Jones is on a 1-year deal. He steps in, be a superstar for that offense.
Would be a lot of fun, no doubt.
Our final one, 2025 Comeback Player of the Year. Let's take a look here at our predictions. I know we don't have our previous ones right now. Matthew, this is a tricky one because it could be a player that got hurt. It could be a player that just fell off the face of the earth this year. What direction are you going?
I think it's got to be Joe Flacco. Right?
I was waiting for that.
Come on, it's got to be Joe Flacco, Comeback Player of the Year. He always is. He's always deserving. Doesn't matter.
The Redux.
Yeah, the Redux. I'm going to say Rashee Rice. right? You know, I mean, coming off of a massive injury, I think people have sort of forgotten about the fact that his 3 full games prior to injury was averaging 21.6 fantasy points per game, had a 34% target share. He was wide receiver 5 in points per game over the last 9 games he's played. To your point about a bounce back year from Mahomes, Rashee Rice is going to be part of that as well. So I'll say Rashee Rice.
Okay, I'll go with the original Chubbler, Nick Chubb himself. Chubby Magic gets a sequel with Nick Chubb. I think that another year removed from that brutal leg injury and the fact that the O-line just has to be better and the quarterback position just has to be better than it was his previous year, I think Chubb can bounce back.
I'm going to take Justin Fields because I think he'll be a starter next year somewhere. And when he was starting for the Steelers, he was a viable fantasy quarterback. So Fields, he'll sign somewhere where he has the best chance to start. This is a weak quarterback draft, which means there's not enough supply of quarterbacks for teams that need a starter, which means Fields will be one in 2025.
For your Jets. How about for your Jets?
I wouldn't rule it out. Him and Tyrod. What a fun summer it's going to be.
That'd be great.
With Arthur Smith as the head coach.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
We're all excited.
Aaron Rodgers. Just hire Aaron Rodgers as your head coach and get it over with.
He already is.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just give the man the job. He's doing it. Give him the title.
That'll do it for What's on Tap. Presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're taking our last break. When we're back, it's time for Last Call. Our favorite player props for the divisional round.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.